Greetings! EcoFlow just released a new updated version of their Glacier 12-volt compressor fridge freezer, calling it the Glacier Classic. It's definitely big, but is it any good? Let's find out.
HOBOTECH.
First, let's get any confusion out of the way. When EcoFlow told me they had a new Glacier fridge coming out, I got excited as I had hoped it was an upgraded version of their very original ice-making fridge from a couple years ago. Nope, this is an entirely new and different design with no affiliation I could see with the original model. They decided to call this one the Glacier Classic, and I'm not sure why it's called Classic when it's an all-new design. Anyway, super confusing. No ice maker here unless you use freezer mode and ice cube trays like any other fridge. The Glacier Classic comes in three sizes: 35, 45, and 55 liter. Today we're going to test the largest dual zone model, the 55 liter or 58 quart. Note that the smallest 35 liter is a single zone, so any of the dual zone spec or testing in this review won't apply to that model. Now I'm going to start with putting the specs page up on screen for all three models. You can pause and read at your leisure. The 55 liter model you see here is all of 60 pounds with battery, and the battery you can obviously take out, and you can certainly feel that 60 pounds with this huge 28 by 18 by 19 girth that can hold a crazy 90 cans of 330 milliliter beverage. There are no wheels, just a pair of fold-out handles, so I suggest a two-person lift if there's anything actually inside. Being a convertible dual zone design, it offers two separate compartments with a removable divider, turning it into a large single zone when needed. When you remove the divider, the screen automatically changes to single zone controls, which is a nice touch. Either or both sides can be set to fridge or freezer mode with a minimum temperature setting of -4 Fahrenheit. That's deep freezer levels that can keep meats fresh for months. A cool design feature is the lid can be opened from either side or easily removed entirely for loading and cleaning. Another nice touch is the dual zone divider snaps nicely into the lid when not in use, which could double as a cutting board. Inside, it sports a pair of lights, one in each compartment, so no problem seeing inside in the dark. There is a drain plug in the bottom to save your back. It does offer both Eco and Max mode. Eco mode runs the compressor slower and quieter at around 45 watts to save energy. Note that in Eco mode, the fridge will have a wider temperature range for the compressor to cycle of up to about 5 degrees Fahrenheit. If that bothers you, keep it in max mode for a much smaller 2-degree difference. If you're old school and still powering things with lead acid batteries in 2025, it does include low, medium, and high settings for battery low voltage protection. As for construction, it's very robust. EcoFlow says they use 2-inch insulation all around, and it definitely looks and feels it. The Classic is Energy Star rated, which is something you don't get in most portables. They claim it uses only 165 watt hours in 24 hours in fridge mode and will run 39 hours off this little internal swappable 297 watt hour battery. Now we're going to test the real world scenario in a moment. Now, a few notes on this battery. It weighs about 5 pounds and it is NCM lithium ion, not lithium iron phosphate, so it's good for about 800 cycles until it needs replaced. It does have a built-in bi-directional 100 watt USB-C that's supposed to work while it's powering the fridge, but well, you'll see that during testing. The display is EcoFlow usual high quality, plenty bright, easy to see with physical buttons, and can be locked to prevent accidental changes. It does of course support EcoFlow's existing remote app, so you can control the fridge anywhere on the planet as long as it has Wi-Fi. Of course, the app is entirely optional. Now, what comes with the fridge? It does include a 12-volt car charger to XT60i. Yes, they decided to move to XT60i, and you'll find out why here in a moment. And it also includes a AC adapter, so you can plug this into regular AC power, inverter, generator, whatever, to XT60i. So why an XT60 connector? Well, because this supports charging with a solar panel up to 30 volts and 110 watts. That means you can also power it with EcoFlow's brand new 500 watt DC to DC charger that I'm not going to demo in this video, but I will show in my next review of the Wave 3 air conditioner later today. They do offer several optional accessories with the Classic that includes a slide tray for your vehicle, a pegboard, tray table, and storage bag. EcoFlow offers a 2-year manufacturer's warranty on this product. And of course, we took the EcoFlow Classic here into my secret laboratory where we performed all kinds of crazy experiments on it. On to performance testing. Now, EcoFlow says they tested this refrigerator at 77 degrees Fahrenheit for its performance. So I currently have the room at a sweltering 76 degrees. It's about as close as I can get without dying in here. And funny enough, the heat being supplied right now is from the Wave 3 running in the window. So we're going to keep this at a constant 76 degrees for the next 24 hours while we do the next test, which is going to be first, this fridge is fully at room temperature. We're going to plug it in with the power supply and a battery meter, and we're going to measure how much DC power it takes to get this thing up to temperature, 39 degrees Fahrenheit, according to the manual. I took the divider out, but all the contents are still inside. So the basket, the divider is still inside, lid is closed. Now this is set on max, 39 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to see how long it takes to go from room temperature, 76, 77 degrees, down to 39 degrees. We're going to see how much power it takes. And then from there, once it's at temperature, I'm going to reset the meter. And we're going to start over again, and we're going to let it run at least overnight. Figure out how much power this consumes on DC, because they claim some pretty crazy numbers. They say basically 2 full days on this battery, or close to 2 full days. Now that seems impossible to me because this is only a 300 watt hour battery, but we're going to find out. So I do have the battery out, by the way. I don't put the battery in because that will mess up our results, because it'll try to charge the battery and all that. We're going to run strictly off the DC input on the side, which is XT60. So let's go ahead and get started. So you can see right there, we have it set to 39 degrees Fahrenheit on max, and the temperature inside's at 73. So let's come back when it's down to 39. Okay, the compressor just kicked off. Let's see the results. It only took 20 minutes, and it's still counting, so it was 20 minutes when I first looked at it. 20 minutes, and it only used 19 watt hours in order to get to 39 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're now up to 78 degrees in this room, so right on where we need to be. I'm gonna go ahead and reset this, and we're gonna go ahead and let it run for at least 12 hours, if not 24 hours, and we'll come back and measure the results. All right, we're back. It's been a full 24 hours. Let's see what the results are. First, the room is still 76 degrees. I kept it 76 all night long. Okay, here are the results. 236 watt hours, 9.75 amp hours over 24 hours. That's an average of 9.8 watts. Okay, to figure out the runtime, this battery is 298 watt hours. So you take 298 divided by 9.8. That means under EcoFlow's perfect ideal conditions, you can expect 30 hours of runtime off the battery. Now I believe they quote 39 or 40 hours. So this is a little bit shy of what they claim. Now this is under their conditions. I kept the room 76 degrees. I do have the refrigerator set at 39 degrees in eco mode. The Wi-Fi is on, but that's what you would expect to run the refrigerator in. So absolute 100% best case scenario, 30 hours off of that battery. Now obviously if you lower the temperature like most people would to like 35 degrees, or you run this outside where it's warmer than 76 degrees, or you pack it full of stuff that is not exactly the temperature, you're going to use a lot more battery power than this. Okay, I need to mention that I did actually put a thermometer in here overnight, and it is holding 38 degrees, which is pretty good. You can see I have it set to 39. It currently thinks it's 34 inside, but it does go a few degrees high and low because I am on eco. Okay, we're going to do one more 24-hour test for those of you that want to use this in dual zone fridge mode. I have one side set to freezer at 0 degrees, which is the proper freezer temperature, and then the other side I left set at 39 degrees Fahrenheit. I put this on eco mode. It's been running for 2 hours at that temperature to make sure everything was nice and stable. We're going to go ahead and reset the battery monitor and let it go 24 hours. I'll come back in 24 hours and we'll see how much power it uses. It's going to be significantly more. I can tell you that right now because freezers gobble power. So see you guys tomorrow. All right, welcome back. This is day 2. We've done a second 24-hour test. Now, the freezer side, I chose the smaller compartment because that's usually the case. Usually you want to refrigerate more and you can freeze. Anyway, I got a 24-hour and 10 minutes, just like last time, so just slightly over 24 hours. So you see 368 watt hours over 24 hours. That is in dual mode, freezer and fridge. That ends up being just over 15 watts average power consumption over 24 hours. So how long would the internal battery run this in dual fridge freezer mode? So this is 298 watt hours by 1533. You would get just over 19 hours of runtime in dual fridge freezer mode with this battery. Yeah, so that's almost double the power consumption, not quite. That's still very good. Don't get me wrong, that's actually quite impressive to get 19 hours on dual fridge freezer with this battery. And I'd have to go back and look at all my other refrigerator reviews. The only other fridge that actually come this close was one of my IceCo reviews. So I have to say this is on par with a top of the line IceCo. Now, I have no idea what this thing costs, but seeing the construction, the size, how quiet it is, how efficient it is, it's got 2-inch thick insulation in it. I'm guessing this is not a cheap fridge. Most of the stuff from EcoFlow is not cheap. One final thing I need to test is the internal temperature. Now, the thermometer in there is reading like 10 degrees or something. Let's check it. Yeah, the internal thermometer says 12 degrees. I don't know if I believe that, so we're gonna go ahead and use this and see what it actually is. Okay, the bottom of the freezer is 8 degrees. So the side of the fridge is minus 10 degrees. So it's 10 below 0 Fahrenheit. So the side of the fridge is really cold. So what this is telling me is that the fridge is doing its job. It's certainly 10 below 0 in the freezer compartment on the sidewall. It's the bottom where I had the temperature sensor sitting that was reading like 8 degrees. And I saw this earlier, it said 10 degrees. And I'm like, it should be a lot closer to 0. But for some reason, that bottom, very bottom part of the freezer is warmer than the sides. Obviously, the cooling part is on the sides of the freezer. For S's and G's, let me go ahead and measure the refrigerator side, which we have set to 39 Fahrenheit. The bottom of the fridge side's about 36 degrees. That's a lot better. And the sides I measured 37. Now I'm going to measure the little plateau area. That's way warmer. So what they would consider the dairy section, which is the little top compartment, is running a lot warmer, and that's what you expect because you don't want your dairy to freeze. I'm gonna do that again because I took too long. So that's running 49 degrees. So just be aware of this little corner section above where the battery compartment is. That is going to be warmer than the refrigerator compartment. That's where you're supposed to put your eggs, your cheese, stuff like that. You put your milk and everything else down in this part. And then anything you want frozen, you put on this side. So that's typical. It's working like it should. Yeah, the temperatures are a little bit off, but I do have it in eco mode. It does say if you put it in max mode, it tightens up those temperatures so it's not 5 degrees off, because that's what they basically say in a manual. It could be up to 5 degrees off if you have an eco mode. Put it in max mode, it tightens up that temperature difference quite a bit. But of course you use more energy. So just how loud is the fridge? Now, it's obviously not a loud product. You can hear it running. It's not an unpleasant sound. But we want to know how loud it is from a meter away. So 43 decibels. This is on max mode, so it is pulling about 60 watts. That's going to be its loudest. It's going to be a little bit quieter than that, maybe 41, 42 decibels on eco. Let me just give you an idea of actually what the compressor sounds like running. So like I said, not an unpleasant sound. It sounds like a refrigerator. So there is one problem I found with the Glacier, and it's not actually with the fridge, but with the battery. Now, I need to let you know this is a early production model, so this is probably a bug that they're going to fix. I would hope they're going to fix it. Now, in the book, it says that this battery doubles as a power bank, so basically you can send power out or in with a bi-directional USB-C port. Now, I tried this and it doesn't seem to work. So all you gotta do to turn it on is you just press the button and it turns on. Now I'm at 50% charge. I did this intentionally to show you that it's not state of charge is the problem. Okay, first things first, I do have this cable going to a power delivery charger on the wall, 100 watt power delivery charger. I plug it in, this is using a 5 amp cable. It does nothing. It doesn't charge, doesn't discharge, doesn't do anything. What I will do next is I'll show you, I have these brand new cables. These are unused brand new cables. Now this is a 240 watt USB cable, so it can handle anything I can throw at it. I'm going to go ahead and hook it to this power bank. The power bank does come on, does detect it. Nothing happens. It doesn't charge, doesn't discharge. That light's not blinking. I have another power bank here just to show you. And I have another cable, 240 watt cable, plugging it into the power bank, plugging it into there. The power bank comes on, and this time it charges at 4 watts. Ooh, a whopping 4 watts. So that really doesn't do anything. In fact, the light's still not blinking saying that it's charging, so I'm not sure if it's even sending that 4 watts into the battery or not, because it's not really showing anything. I also have this other cable, which I've used many times, just to prove to you that it's not the cable. Power bank 1, again, 4 watts, nothing's happening to the battery. Now this is a 140 watt power bank. Again, it should be able to hang, it should be able to do anything, nothing. The light comes on, but nothing happens. It doesn't actually do anything. It just comes on. So no charge from a power delivery plugged into the wall, no charge from 2 different power banks using 3 different cables. So this bidirectional USB-C port on the battery is not working. It's not working at all. It turns on and off just fine, and it powers the fridge just fine, but that USB-C is not working. So don't know what to say, EcoFlow. That's something you need to fix. Now, I normally don't test USB ports on batteries that go in the fridges, but I was very curious because I know some of you spotted this. The fact that you can put this battery in and then plug it into USB. I'm thinking, okay, what if I wanted to extend the life of the battery? I could plug another power bank into the USB and run the fridge. Now, I did try this. Let me go ahead and put the battery and show you. Oh yeah, another thing you should fix, EcoFlow, while you're working on this battery is you shouldn't allow people to put it in upside down, because I'm putting it upside down trying to get it in there and it is not going in. So let me put it in the right way. Now that's going to power the fridge. Let's see what happens when I plug the power bank in. Comes on, doesn't do anything. So what I was hoping is that I could extend the life of the onboard battery by plugging it into a power bank or even one of EcoFlow's power stations, you know, to get unlimited runtime through USB-C, which is the way I've always wanted to power a refrigerator. I hate the fact that you have to plug things like this in anymore. It's just, this is ridiculous. This is like 1950s technology, these stupid 12-volt accessory socket. And instead of doing this, I would much rather do this, you know, because a lot of cars now have USB-C charging ports that can do 20 watts, 40 watts, 60 watts, something like that. You could run your refrigerator with a dinky little USB cord. It's easily replaceable, but nobody's doing this yet. Why is nobody making a refrigerator that can run off of USB-C? I mean, you can pump 240 watts through USB-C now. It's not even an issue. There's plenty of opportunity here for somebody out there to come up with a fridge that runs off of USB-C power delivery at 20 volts. 20 volts, 3 amps is all you need. And that's been out for, what, 10 years now. So anyway, I'm done griping. And here is the tally of final results from all the testing. I'm going to put up here on screen. You can pause and read at your leisure. So what do I think about the Glacier Classic? Well, I think it's a fine fridge. It's well designed, well built, super efficient. I think it can certainly give premium brands like IceCo a run for their money. I would have also liked to see a more competitive warranty, as 2 years is kind of meh. Where I think they kind of missed the mark here was the lack of an EcoFlow battery connector. There is nowhere on this fridge or on the battery an XT150 connector that they use for all their batteries. Because that would be nice if you could DC power this directly from another power station. Now, yes, you can take this cable, plug this 12 volt into any power station's 12 volt car port and power the fridge. Sure, you can do that, but it doesn't charge it very quickly that way. It's only about 100 watts. You can also power it with USB-C if that actually worked, which here on my preview model, it doesn't. Still would have liked to see a direct battery port so folks could use a plain River or Delta battery that doesn't have any USB or car ports on it to allow this fridge to run indefinitely. Other than that, I like it. I'm probably going to use it when I go on a road trip, especially when it's hot out, when that extra thick, listen to that. Extra thick insulation is going to come in handy. As for price, I have no clue what the price point is for this fridge, any of the sizes, because that information wasn't shared with me at the time of filming. But if you use the link and code below in the description, you can nab 5% off whatever the current sale price is. I'm also going to put a link here at the bottom of the screen along with a QR code that you can scan if you're watching me on TV. It'll send you on over to the EcoFlow store page where you can check out the EcoFlow Glacier Classic. Thanks for watching, and until next time.
Odin commands you to like and subscribe, and clean my litter box.